New York City, the city that never sleeps, home to millions, and this week the stage for the premier psychiatric organization to meet, learn and discuss the most pressing mental health issues facing the world today.
Addiction,
Suicide prevention,
artificial intelligence,
psychedelics and PTSD,
mood disorders,
child and adolescent psychiatry.
It's the annual meeting of the American Psychiatric Association, and we're APA TV. Welcome to New York. It's so exciting to be here for the world's premier psychiatric meeting. We're going to be talking about so many things this week, from addiction to digital health. I can hardly wait. And of course, don't forget a collection on global best practice from around the world. On our first episode of APA TV.
It's happy sad, this has been an amazing family for me since I was a resident in psychiatry.
We meet with outgoing APA CEO Saul Levin one last time to discuss 10 years at the APA.
The APA is a whole year enterprise. The annual meeting is but the cherry at the top of the ice cream.
We meet with Ludmila Defaria to get the inside scoop on APA operations.
One of the things that humbles me every day is the opportunity I get to work with patients and their families on this journey.
And in the APA TV film series, we travel from New York to the world to find out what's happening in some of the world's top universities, hospitals and companies. And where can you watch it all? On screens around the venue, in select NYC hotels, on the APA meeting site, virtual platform and app, and on YouTube and X. But first, back to the studio to find out what's coming up this week directly from the source. I'm delighted now to be joined by two very important people, without whom it's no exaggeration to say the entire meeting wouldn't be possible. Dr. Eric Williams and Dr. Tanuja Gandhi are APA Annual Meeting Scientific Program Committee Chair and Vice Chair. Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed for joining us today on what is such a busy week for you, so thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Fantastic to be here in New York.
Absolutely. I think we're going to do it once every 3 years now because it's just such a vibrant city and people love coming to NYC.
Because I think the numbers now are back to pre-pandemic levels.
We're getting there. I think there's a combination of in-person and virtual meetings, but in-person meetings still are very popular because think about it, in a city like New York, you have the opportunity to do learning in the meeting and socialize in ways that you can't in most other places.
That is absolutely for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the meeting itself. What are some of the sessions this week that play to the agenda of confronting addiction from prevention to recovery?
We're looking at addiction not just in the ways that people think of as just drugs, but we're also looking at addiction to tech, addiction to using AI, addiction in youth, addiction in adults. There's one session that we have about children and e-cigarettes. Wow. If you talk with kids nowadays, they're going to tell you, no, nobody smokes, but we all vape. And that's an addiction in and of itself, and that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at.
And what are some of the water cooler talking points this week?
So you get the bread and butter kind of topics with things you want to learn in a meeting, opioid addictions and how to diagnose and treat them, and like Eric said, across the age group. The other themes that come up is there's a little something for everyone. There's a little bit for trainees, for med students, for practicing professionals, be it early or mid-career. So the main themes are what we want to look for, and the program has been designed in such a way that you can identify your interest and have a track of your own on the annual meeting app.
A lot of people coming to New York for the first time, to this meeting for a first time. It's a big meeting. So what's the advice that you would have for first-time attendees, how to navigate this?
Well, now we have the app, which is great. So my first annual meeting, I think, was 2003, and you just had that big program book, and you had to flip through and figure out what you wanted to do. But as Dr. Gandhi said, we have the app now that has things tagged on it. So I have some medical students that came with me. So I'm telling them, look for anything with a medical student tag on it, and you'll find some like-minded folks and your like-minded physician, and there are sessions that are tailored just to you, and that can help make it a little bit smaller.
My advice is don't get overwhelmed, because that's one of the big reasons why people don't come to a big meeting. The reason it's big is because we are catering to the needs of a very diverse membership and people from all across the world. So don't get overwhelmed, and like we've been talking about, you'll find a little something for you. Take the time, look at the app, look at the brochure, the meeting book, and find friends to hang out with, because that's what makes the meeting interesting.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us. Good luck with the meeting, and thanks for all the work you put into it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like it's going to be a fantastic meeting. Before we catch up with Saul Levin, let's start our tour of some of the world's leading psychiatric groups right here in NYC. Northwell Health Institute of Behavioral Science is a research powerhouse at the forefront of understanding the intricacies of the human mind.
Our primary research goal at the Institute of Behavioral Science is to conduct cutting-edge research into the major psychiatric disorders. And we try to bring the new tools of neuroscience to bear to understand how these disorders come about and how best to treat them. The idea of bringing together clinical trials with more modern technology is really the center of what we do, using the real tools of neuroscience like genetics and MRI imaging and clinical trials together to enhance maybe the efficacy of the trial or to understand which patients are really going to respond best to individual treatment, so-called personalized medicine. And we're able to do that here very nicely because we have the new tools of neuroscience on the one side, and then we have the patients on the other side from the hospital. And then the funding from the NIH and private foundations really helps us to do this kind of work.
This is my passion. This is what I was meant to do. Being empowered to do that here, being supported to do that here is everything.
I'm now absolutely delighted to be joined by the APA CEO and Medical Director, Dr. Saul Levin. Well, Dr. Levin, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to actually be sitting here after 6 months in the job.
And quite a baptism of fire, hasn't it been, those 6 months?
It has been. One has been a very exciting time for psychiatry, with mental health parity finally being passed, and now we have a big mental health bill that's now beginning to go through the House of Representatives. It's actually a really exciting time for psychiatry.
Hard to believe, isn't it? It's been more than 10 years since Dr. Saul Levin took over the role as CEO and Medical Director here at the APA. And what a decade it's been. Dr. Levin, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to do it, and my pleasure to once again see you. We do this once a year, and I always look forward to it.
Me too. So how does it feel, this being your last annual meeting?
Right. It'll be the last annual meeting of me as CEO, Medical Director. It's happy, sad. This has been an amazing family for me since I was a resident in psychiatry. And leading this organization with amazing psychiatrists who work every day for the betterment of their patients makes me happy, on it.
And is there a successor in place?
Yes, there is. Dr. Makeda Wells. She's amazing. She has a great sense of humor. She also knows, just like I think I came in with ideas, or what her ideas are for the future. And she's really fairly involved with AI, which I think will be a big issue that she and the association is going to be facing. But it's wonderful to sit down for a meal with her. You really have a good time. Yeah.
And would you have any guidance for her?
I think you've always got to there are many pressures that come from all the different perspectives of psychiatry and its members. Listen to all of them, but in the end, you got to do what you think will be best. If it doesn't work out, you can quickly change it, and if it does work out, they say, look how clever you are. And I think that's for all leaders and all CEOs. It's the roll of the dice, and that you have a knowledge that you hopefully will put to good use. And she's got it.
What's next for you?
What's next for me is my family has finally said, you went to DC, literally 25 years ago, saying it would be for 4 years. It's time to come home. So I will be returning to Los Angeles, which is I love. But more importantly, the World Psychiatric Association, who I've been involved on with APA there, elected me to be their Secretary General for the next 6 years. So that will be fun as well, keep me occupied, but also give me time to enjoy the family and just enjoy, in some ways, a little bit of retirement.
And do you have any final words for the members here this week in New York?
Thank you again for coming. We are at record numbers again, after the COVID, and then also the last two meetings had a lot less numbers. New York has always been our biggest membership coming to it, and it's panned out here. And I know you can see it, that the energy is just bubbling through the whole place of being back.
Well, thank you ever so much again for joining us. Really appreciate it. So
thank you, and thank you for doing this.
We'll miss those annual catch-ups with Dr. Levin, won't we? But good luck to such a great leader. Now, as annual meeting attendees collect their badges here at the Javits, let's find out what brings you to the APA annual meeting this year.
Coming up to the APA means I get to meet my colleagues from all over the country, see what everyone's been up to and researching. Really exciting to just kind of see what the newest and best things are in psychiatry.
It's my first time being in APA in a psychiatric conference. It was looking amazing from the website and all thing, and especially the current topic of addiction is my particular interest for a long time.
I wanted to come and visit New York, and it's my first time to an APA conference.
I'm here because I love psychiatry. I want to learn more. I'm a medical student in my third year, and I have a presentation on Monday.
It's a place where most of the psychiatrists come in the world. You can learn the new things updated about clinical practice, advocacy, legislation, all of that. It's a must visit every year.
Staying here in the city, let's go to another New York mainstay. The Center of Excellence in Eating and Weight Disorders at Mount Sinai brings together psychologists, dietitians, social workers and psychiatrists to provide support for some of the most challenging conditions.
The Center of Excellence in Eating and Weight Disorders at Mount Sinai was founded in 2002 and have grown over the last 20 plus years from a program primarily focused on just answering a few research questions to a full continuum of care where we integrate clinical work directly with the research questions we're trying to answer.
We focus on innovation and collaboration through our interdisciplinary work with experts in a variety of fields to provide patients with novel and cutting-edge practices.
We're focused on integrating the research that we do with clinical care. We roll up our sleeves and we get directly into care with our patients. And I think that is what's unique about the way we go about it, is that we're not answering questions in isolation. We're actually answering them with the folks that will benefit most from them.
So delighted now to be joined by Dr. Ramaswamy Viswanathan, President-elect of the APA. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations on being elected president. That's quite an honor.
Yeah, it's really a privilege, and it gives me a lot of opportunity to have an impact on a wide segment of the population, not only in the United States, but also throughout the world, because now the whole world has become one. So I look forward to that opportunity.
Let's pick up on that a little bit. So what are some of the priorities that you've set for your term?
One thing which I have chosen as my presidential theme is a lifestyle for positive mental and physical health. About 80% of our healthcare expenditure is spent on illnesses related to unhealthy lifestyle. And so there is a tremendous opportunity to improve people's health. And not only preventing illnesses, but I'm also interested in positive mental and physical health. There's research to show that exercise is as effective as antidepressant medications in improving moderate depression. To me, it's not one versus the other. We have to do both. And no matter what intervention we do, psychotherapy or somatic treatments, we also have to look after the lifestyle of people.
Some of the issues that you talk about through exercise, is that mainly a sort of wealthy Western country problem, or is that a global issue?
Now it has become a global issue, even in poorer countries, because of the marketing. Unhealthy food is more easily available, and also, technology is very good, and it has improved our lives a lot, but people exercise less. It's not really simply a formal exercise program. You have to be active throughout the day. We shouldn't be sitting more than an hour at a time. We should get up, and if you take a few steps of walking and then come back and sit, that itself reduces your morbidity and improves the health span.
So when do you actually become president? How does it work?
On Wednesday at 5 p.m., when the current annual meeting closes, that's when I officially become president. But there are ceremonies before that. Today, Saturday at 5:30 to 7, there's an opening ceremony wherein I'll be introduced and I'll give a speech. And then on Sunday, there's a board meeting where there is a formal ceremony of a handover of power.
Well, all I can say is best of luck for the year ahead, and I hope it goes really well. So thank you.
I'm looking forward to it, and I need to really work with a lot of wonderful people, and I'm sure that will be very productive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to Dr. Viswanathan's year as president. Stay tuned for an exciting 2025. Now to Connecticut, where the Rural Psychiatry Program at Quinnipiac University is providing an inclusive, safe and innovative learning environment to train the next generation of psychiatrists.
Our program has this unique and wonderful collaboration between Quinnipiac's Netter School of Medicine and Hartford Healthcare sites. So we have this world-class medical school with all of the scholarship and support that leverages, along with a healthcare system that is also well-versed in undergraduate and graduate medical education, clinical innovation, research and scholarship, as well as commitment to the community. We're really excited about the future of our rural psychiatry program because we have the privilege of training the next generation of psychiatrists while providing excellent care to our patients. We hope that our residents stay local after graduation, but we know that they'll be prepared to teach, educate, innovate, lead, and practice anywhere that they choose.
Coming up, we go behind the scenes to find out how the APA is run. But first, to another of our great films, Mindful Health Solutions pioneer innovative behavioral healthcare using a number of cutting-edge treatments. Let's take a look.
Our interventions right now are largely targeted for patients with treatment-resistant depression, so people who have struggled with major depressive disorder and have failed at least 2 antidepressants. And these folks really have oftentimes been engaging with psychiatric care for many years. They've cycled through many different antidepressants, psychotherapy, and other treatments, and continue to struggle. I think that one of the really innovative and important things we're doing here at Mindful Health Solutions is trying to integrate novel therapeutics into the general psychiatry setting. So as opposed to having a siloed out ketamine clinic that you might send a patient to, or a TMS clinic, or eventually a psychedelic clinic, or a general psychiatry E&M-based clinic, bringing all of that under one roof, training all of the doctors in the clinic to be experts really in all of these modalities to be able to deliver them. And what that allows you to do is to bring a patient in the clinic with major depressive disorder or other psychiatric illness and move them in a rational way through a treatment care pathway to maximize their chance for remission. I think that our organization is really at the front of raising the standard of care in the field of psychiatry by maximizing the outcomes for our patients.
It's time to go beyond the meeting now. This annual gathering also sees the APA leadership come together to plan all of the APA's other activities as they work to advance mental health care. To find out more, we spoke to Dr. Ludmila Defaria.
It's very important that people understand the APA is a whole year enterprise. The annual meeting is but the cherry at the top of the ice cream. The APA has a legislative arm, that is the assembly, and that's where the members can have input in what they want the organization to fight for or promote. And members can put in action papers, which means like specific actions that we want the APA to make on behalf of its members. I have been involved with the APA in different offices since 2012. I started as the deputy representative for the Women Caucus, and then I have been in the Assembly, I have been in the Council on Children, Adolescents and Their Families, and I have now served in the Committee on Women's Mental Health. So I have done a little bit of everything. I personally found a home in the APA that has been supportive of my career. I was practicing in a place that didn't have a lot of other psychiatrists, and so the APA was very grounding. It was the place that I could bounce ideas off and meet my community. So if you like a sense of community, if you want to talk to people that think alike and that you can join your energy with them, then the APA is a home for you.
That's it for our first show here at the Javits, but that's just the start of it. For our next shows, we'll be diving deep into some of the biggest issues in psychiatry and mental health today. Tomorrow we look at addiction, starting with an in-depth interview with APA President Petros Livonis. We'll also look at how digital tech might be causing ADHD later in life and speak to former Congressman Patrick Kennedy about the last century of community mental health care. And where can you watch it? On screens around the venue, in select NYC hotels, on the APA meeting site, virtual platform and app, and on YouTube and X. So make sure you watch APA TV any way you can, and we'll see you tomorrow.